Hello. I don't know how to start this. This is something I wanted to do for a while, and I'm glad I'm finally getting to do it. I don't know if that's recording. I can't tell if it's filming. Oh no, never mind. I see the little red thing now. Yay! Okay, so hi. Uh, I'm Lonnie, aka Neo. Neo does makeup, everything like that. I love to cook, and I actually asked you guys on Instagram, like, hey. I know I'm gonna be cooking later. Do you guys want me to film this? And I'm surprised a lot of the response was yes. Um. So, uh, yeah, I'm actually guessing this is like a side part cooking thing now. um. Yeah. So, today I'm actually gonna be cooking a uh, baked spaghetti. But what I'm going to show you today is simply my marinara sauce, and it's a recipe that I've created. I say recipe even though it's going to be some canned goods included in here because I'm not good with tomatoes. C'est la vie. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to start with that. The first thing you're going to do is obviously wash your hands. After that, you're going to grab your onions, and I normally use about 3 to 4 onions depending on the marinara size I'm going to make. For this one, I'm going to go with 4 onions. Plus, you're also going to want to grab like a larger size saucepan just because that's just what I'm used to. So with our new house, sorry I have my ring light because the lighting in here is treacherous. Actually, hold on, let me see if this, oh, that's probably going to bug with it. Let's see. Huh. Let's see, how's that effect? That's still about the same. Anyway, so this is the pan I'm going to be using. Over here we have a fully electric glass top stove. So with this one we do have 5 settings. I'm going to place this on the largest one. While in the meantime I'm going to grab my onions and I'm going to show you how I cut my onions over here. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. This is our chopping board. Again, hands are already washed. So I don't have like any brand or anything, so this is just like an old family knife that we've had forever. Anyway, I have 4 large sweet onions. So what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to peel out the skin, which, let me see, I can do this. Aha, there we go. So what I do for this. So again, when I'm peeling my onions, I like to go for about the outer 2 to 3 layers. You can't even see it, okay, I'm sorry. So again, that was the first outer 2 layers, so again, just cleanse it. Shake it off, and then we put it on the cutting board. So I normally like to go right down in half. I have 2 halves. And again, I go once in half and just continue from there. So then I like to turn it where I had cut and just slice right down again. Again, same thing. And then you're going to do that 3 more times with your remaining onions. But right now, I'm actually going to put this in the big saucepan that I have already on the side. So that way it's just there and ready. Okay, so now we have our onions all minced. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some corn oil. I normally just do a little drizzle. Okay. And so from there, I normally will put it on like a more higher heat, but right now since I'm going to be also trying to film, I'm going to wait before I put this to warm. In the meantime, we're going to cut some green onions and some celery. Let's go. Okay, so like I said, we're going to cut some green onions. I will normally use about 2. So I'm just going to grab 1 and 2. And so always clean them off. And I always cut off the roots and cut off the top parts up here because they're normally a little bit drier, they're not as easier to use. And then I just slice. So let's do that. And normally I will put it to the side while I cut up both. And I'll be right back. So I'm going to put the onions to start to warm, and I will be using a wooden spatula to let them saute. I am in no ways a chef. I just know the family recipes that I was taught, and I've experimented with food from there. So I, in no ways, am going to say that this is going to be your absolute favorite meal. But hey, if it's something that you might want to enjoy and try, go ahead. So while that's warming up, I'm still going to add the green onions to it. Okay, and then I'm also going to take 2 stalks of celery. Real quick, I'm going to clean these off. Okay. And like with the green onions, I'm going to cut off the bottoms and the tops. And those will not be used. And I can already hear the onions, so I'll be right back. Okay, so you can already hear the onions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to real quickly chop this up. I normally like to go from top to bottom. There we go. I'm going to check on the onions one more time and I'll be right back. I let the onions cook first before I even finish chopping everything up because I know that's the part I want to have the most browned. And again, just like this one, we're going to, let's see, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to add this to the onions. We're going to clean up this area, and I'm going to move you over to the pot, the pan, so you can see what I mean by how everything's going to be cooking. Okay, so here again is the proof that I'm not a professional. So like I said, I always have it just kind of cooking in the background. I do that just because I know I want my onions to brown, get really nice and dark. I'm from Louisiana, and if your onions ain't dark, you ain't cooking right. And this process, here, let me turn the heat back up. Again, you're going to want to go for more of a lot of times people go for like a medium heat. I prefer more of a higher heat until things get more, until you really need to focus, and then that's whenever I turn things down. I'll be honest with that. And if you hear my voice moving all around, that's because I am moving all around, taking care of stuff around my kitchen. But everything is nice right now. Now, again, I am originally from Louisiana, so most of the things I cook have onion in it. So if I do more and I'm like, okay, and we have onions, celery, green onions, you already know how to cut it up. I'm most likely not going to include it. I'm joking. But again, high heat, and just constantly be vigilant because you do not want your onions to stick. And the smell. I'm someone who loves the smell of onions whenever they're cooking. So while these onions are cooking, I'm going to let you know what's going to be next, so that way when it happens, I don't have to explain it. I can explain it while I have time. So, while I let everything just cook down, I ran off and went to grab what I need. So what I do is, as soon as the onions are at that point of where they're looking like they're about to burn, instead of adding water, like a lot of people do, I do something different. What I do is I add a little mini bottle. This is of Woodbridge. This is their Merlot. This is a 187 milliliter bottle. And I slowly add it in. And I do that just because it helps add a very different but nice flavor to your marinara. Now I know in some places, some families, they will add wine or something in later on. But if you do it earlier, it allows the flavor to steep in more. Okay, so I did have to turn down the fan. I did have to run off camera. You might have noticed that I wasn't stirring. Uh, the smoke alarm went off. This is the second time I cook and it goes off. But these were obviously that close to burning. And you can see now the onions have this nice like brown color to them. And I know I'm going to be getting a phone call any minute saying, hey, is everything okay? It is. So now the onions are like this color. What I do is I crack open a can of some stewed tomatoes and I add that. And I start off with stewed tomatoes just because that helps. It's just what I like to use first. Now, I did not say it, but I did also turn down the temperature to where it is on a very low setting now. Now, I know that's not the prettiest thing to see, but with that, I also add a half can of water. Now, what that's going to do is just going to add a little bit more. Like I said, I got a phone call. This time it was from ADT, so yeah, we're good. So I'm also going to add another can of stewed tomatoes and 2 cans of whole tomatoes. And whenever I do that, you'll see. Okay, and we're back. And I accidentally added a can of tomato sauce instead of the second can of whole tomatoes. Still add the second can of whole tomatoes. Wow, this thing is splashing. So, this is what you're going to have. What we're going to do is just let this simmer while under cover for about 20 minutes. I'm going to put it on medium heat. So that's going to happen. I'm going to clean up the rest of the kitchen. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and it's been about 15-20 minutes. And there you go. Now you can see that more traditional marinara look to it. Now some people might say, oh, but marinara, you don't normally have like tomatoes, like full tomatoes. Okay. So since this is a little liquidy and I prefer stuff to be, well, let me turn down the heat a little. Okay, so since I'm someone who's not the biggest fan of super liquidy sauce, I don't think anyone really is, what I'm going to do is add a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a can, small can, of tomato paste. And that's going to help thicken this up a little bit. So I can see tomato paste. By the way, if you saw my Instagram story, the fire department still came. Even though I had to call, like our security company called, and I told them, yeah, no, we're good. It's all good. They still had to come out here. Okay, so now that we're at this point, I'm also going to season this. And in Louisiana, there's just like very little things that you use for seasoning. I say that jokingly. In my family, there's a few things we do use. So the first thing is salt, just regular iodinized salt. I don't use specific amounts, so I can't help you there. But we're just going to slightly add that in. I know it looks like a lot, but whenever you have so much that's going in, like the water and everything else that's going in, it's not a lot of salt. Next, you add some black pepper. And the thing you cannot forget, some Zatarain's Creole seasoning. No, this is not an ad, it's just what my family uses. And that you can go ham with. Because those are the main three spices or seasonings that my family uses. Now with this, I do add a few more things. So now whenever I do anything with like a tomato, or I even include this in my chicken noodle soup, I also use the Publix Italian seasoning blend. And that I do add a little bit more than everything else, just because that's like the solid herbs. Plus I also add a little bit of the more whole version instead of the powder version of the Zatarain's Creole seasoning. Just add a few shakes here and there. Already you can see how this is already starting to thicken up a little bit. So now I'm going to leave this on a lower temperature, add in the rest of the paste. And then we're going to let that all cook in a little bit more. And this time, whenever I let it cook, I'm going to leave it uncovered. Why? Because at first I don't want everything to like cook in, get all the flavors in. So let the tomatoes really mix with the onion. And oh my gosh, ow. It's just tomato paste. But here, just going to let everything thicken up. And with the lid off, it's going to thicken up a little bit more. Anyways, I'm gonna let that happen. I'll be back. Okay, the one thing I did forget is I also like to add a little bit of cayenne pepper powder. And by a little, I mean a little. It's gonna take about that much. The fun thing about cayenne is that a little goes a long way. Okay, and we're back, and I'm real quickly just going to add a little bit more tomato sauce. So we're basically going to leave it to sit again. I'm realizing now that this is probably not the best video to start on to do a cooking series. Now I'm going to cover it again so that we can retain some juices. We're going to cover that, and I'm going to move you back to where I originally had you. Okay, so I'm basically just going to keep it like it is. I mean, essentially, I'm just going to keep it on low temperature, keep it cooking, and really, at any point, whenever you're ready, you can put it. It's going to be ready. But the thing I do with this sauce is I make baked spaghetti. So obviously, you heat up your own like pasta, your spaghetti, and then you just put your spaghetti in, cover it with your sauce, and then you sprinkle some cheese on top. Honestly, the type of cheese is up to you. We personally really enjoy mozzarella and Parmesan. So then inside your oven, that will be most likely preheated. This one is not. We normally preheat it to 350, 375-ish. And place them in. Let the cheese get nice and right until it's like golden. Take it out, serve. And yeah, that's going to give you roughly 6 servings with this recipe. So yeah, that's all. Because I'm like, honestly, this is a really boring video. I know it. I'm sorry. But hey, I wanted to give it a shot. I know I'm going to do other videos like some family recipes, my other recipes, how I do chicken salad, or not chicken salad, like a pasta and grilled chicken salad. Now I want that. Which I might be cooking later this week. So you're going to see some of that, and it's going to differentiate what's on my channel. So let's try it. I'm down for trying new things. Aside from that, thank you for watching, and you're going to see what it looks like whenever it's done in pictures. Bye.